no questions, then could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Director Facio, Director Johnson, those in favor, contrary, carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Fraser Valley Regional District Board of Directors. And thank you, Chair Pranger, for your thoughtful land acknowledgement for this evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order. First item, Ms. Kinnaman.
Looking for approval of the agenda, addenda, and late items.
Move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Thank you. It's moved by Director Facio, seconded by Director Pranger. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor. Opposed, if any, the item carries. Next item.
4.1 is the draft Fraser Valley Regional District Committee of the Whole open meeting minutes of February 16th, 2023.
Thank you. It's moved by Director Shahal, seconded by Director Kloot. Discussion, changes, errors, omissions. Seeing none, all in favor. Opposed, if any, item carries. Next item.
4.2 is the draft Fraser Valley Regional District Board meeting minutes of February 23rd, 2023.
Thank you. It's moved by Director McElhonick, seconded by Director Smith. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor. Opposed, if any, item carries. Next item.
Next item is item 5, which are committee minutes for information and matters arising. Happy to separate any of those out.
Thank you. Questions on the committee minutes for any of the respective committees? Don't see any. Next item.
6.1 is the FVRD privacy breach policy. There is a motion for your consideration.
So moved,
Thank
Mr.
you. It's
Chairman.
moved by Director Facio, seconded by Director Ross. Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor. Opposed, if any, the item carries. Next item.
Item 7.1 is public feedback on the FVRD 2023 to 2027 financial plan. I would just note that our CFO, Kelly Lonsborough, did provide a verbal report in both RACS and EASC, and those comments are reflected in the board report, but happy to have any discussion with the board this evening.
Thank you. Questions?
I see Director Davidson.
Yeah, Director Davidson, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to staff. The number of page views, I think, was something around 110 or something like that on the Have Your Say website. I was just wondering if staffs would be looking for any strategies, communication strategies that would hopefully drive those numbers a bit for next year. Thank you.
Ms. Kinnaman?
Sure. I think I'll turn things over to our CFO, Kelly Lonsborough, to answer that one.
Ms. Lonsborough.
Okay, thank you, Director Davidson, through the chair. Yes, you're correct. The figure was about 107 site visits to the Have Your Say site. We have had some discussions, some preliminary internal discussions on keeping information flowing for next year. So we do have some strategies, and we'll be fleshing those out a little bit further in the coming months so that we can drive home more site visits and interaction engagement with the public for next year's financial plan.
Ms. Lonsborough, and just a note on that, we also had in-person availability on the budget as well for those who didn't want to go online or didn't feel comfortable going online. We made the budget documents available in person. I think Director Horn, that was something that you had commented on, and we did do a little bit of preemptive media on the budget where we let the public know that we had the Have Your Say website available. We let the public know that we would have in-person availability on the budget item as well. But certainly look forward to any feedback from staff after the internal discussions are completed on how we can get some more interaction. Director Horn.
Well, thank you, Chair. Your comments reminded me, I wanted to say a thank you to staff for the quick turnaround on the one pager. And further to your comments and those of Director Davidson, I think that might be a tool for next year as we're getting more and more sort of in person to have some of those at the ready for directors to take to community gatherings and so forth. A simple kind of old school tool, but would encourage us to bring those out next year as well.
Thank you, Dr. Horn. Any other comments? Don't see any. It's an information item. So next item.
7.2 is a 2022 grant and aid financial accountability reporting. Again, an information report, but happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Questions from board directors?
Dixon,
Go ahead, Director Dixon.
thank you. It's not a question, it's just a comment. In that report, it shows just one of the places in my area that had not responded, Creekside. So I have their report. It'll be in next year's agenda package, but I just wanted to let you know that they were also very thankful for it and use it to build a playground or add to their playground.
Great. Thank you, Director. Other comments? Don't see any. Next item.
7.3 is a 2023 grant and aid application for the Boston Bar Community Charities Association in Electoral Area A.
Thank you. It's moved by Director Johnson, second by Director, I see your hand, Director Pranger. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed, if any, item carries. Next item.
7.4 is a 2023 grant and aid request for the Sunshine Valley Ratepayers Association in Electoral Area B.
Thank you. It's moved by Director Adamo, seconded by Director Reed. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed, if any, the item carries. Next item.
7.5 is a 2023 grant and aid request for the Post Creek Ratepayers Association in Electoral Area E.
Thank you. It's moved by Director McAphonic, seconded by Director Workington. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed, if any, item carries. Next item.
8.1 is the Cultus Lake zoning bylaw update. It is a progress update report for information that happy to discuss.
Thank you. Questions from directors? We're good. Next item.
8.2 is electoral areas E and H bylaw update project. There is a motion for your consideration.
Thank you. It's moved by Director Dixon, seconded by Director Barkman. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, opposed if any, item carries. Next item.
8.3 is the Fraser Valley Regional District 2023 to 2027 Financial Plan Bylaw number 1697.
Thank you. Motion number 1. This is first readings, moved by Director Horn, seconded by Director Kloot. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, opposed if any, item carries. Second and third readings, moved by Director Popov, seconded by Director Ross. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, opposed if any, item carries. And adoption is moved by Director Castle. No, Director, who's got their hand up? Director Kloot, seconded by Director McAhonic. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, opposed if any, item carries. Thank you. Next item.
8.4 is zoning amendment bylaw number 1620 to facilitate the development of an indoor film production facility at 44390 Bayview Road in Electoral Area C.
Okay, this is EA's. The motion staff recommendation is moved by Director Wardenberg, second by Director Castle. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, opposed if any, item carries. Next item.
8.5 is Fraser Valley Regional District's water supply system fees and other charges amendment bylaw number 1693.
Thank you. Motion number 1. This is for all. This is moved by Director Johnson, second by Director Horn. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, opposed if any, the item carries. Motion number 2, this is second and third reading, is moved by Director Smith, second by Director Dickey. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, opposed if any, item carries. And adoption is moved by Director Kloot, seconded by Director Facio. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, opposed if any, item carries. Next item.
8.6 is Fraser Valley Regional District North Cultus Sewer System Fees and Charges Amendment Bylaw number 1694.
Okay, this is first reading. It's moved by Director Pranger, seconded by Director McAhonic. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, opposed if any, the item carries. Motion number 2 is the second and third reading is moved by Director Shahal, seconded by Director Ross. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, opposed if any, item carries. Adoption moved by
Dixon.
Dixon, second by Director Barkman. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, opposed if any, item carries. Next item.
8.7 is the Fraser Valley Regional District North Bend Sewer System Fees and Charges Amendment Bylaw number 1695.
Let's do it all again. Motion number one, this is introductions, moved by Director Johnson, seconded by Director Dreesen. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, opposed if any, item carries. Third.
Move, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Director Facio, seconded by Director Horn. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, opposed if any, item carries. Adoption. Moved by Director McCahonic, seconded by Director Smith. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, opposed if any, item carries. Next item.
Next is section 9, and I believe Chair Lum, you have a script in front of you.
Well, in case you haven't heard me talk enough tonight, pursuant to Part 14, Division 9 of the Local Government Act, this is the opportunity for the FVRD Board to hear from the public regarding the 2 development variance permits listed on the agenda for this meeting. Anyone who believes that their interests are affected by the proposed applications will be given an opportunity to speak. If you have any verbal comments with respect to these permits and you're joining us online on Zoom or on a computer or smart device, I'd ask you please press the raise hand function. When it's your turn to speak, you'll be asked to unmute yourself. And if you're joining us by phone, please press *9, and this will notify our staff that you wish to speak. When you're prompted to unmute yourself, please press *6. Those of you wishing to speak tonight are asked to begin your presentation by providing your name and address, which we will record and form part of our official record. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes and confine your remarks to the application at hand. Ms. Kinnaman, first item.
9.1 is Development Variance Permit 2023-01 to reduce the setback for a manure pit at 40628 Lougheed Highway in Electoral Area G.
Okay, is there anyone wishing to speak to this item, either in person or online? Ms. Van Ness, that'd be your opportunity. Call for a second time. Call for a third and final time. Hearing none, what is the board's wishes? We have a staff recommendation before you. I need a mover and a seconder. It's moved by Director Castle, and this is for EAs, sorry, seconded by Director Dickey. Discussion? Good. No discussion. We'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed, if any, the item carries. Next item.
9.2 is Development Variance Permit 2022-15 to increase the maximum size for an accessory building at 10371 Parkwood Drive in Electoral Area D.
Thank you. Is there anyone who wishes to speak to this item? Please either make your way to the podium or unmute yourself if you're online. Mr. Rayner, welcome.
Good evening, Jesse Rayner, JCR Design. I'm at 45269 Keith Wilson here in Chilliwack. I'm here on behalf of the landowner regarding these 2 variances for their accessory building. Just want to fill in a little information. It's in the report, but just so you can hear it see a face. We provided a public engagement by holding an open house at our office. We mailed out a mailer package with the information for the variances and a site plan, concept plan. Nobody attended that meeting. In that invitation, we also asked people if they are uncomfortable with that format to reach out to us. We can either come see them in person or they can arrange another time to come see us. The client, Adam, the homeowner, he spoke to the neighbors to the north and to the south of him, and neither neighbor had any issues. We have engaged Fraser Valley Engineering Limited to do a review of the rock pit to make sure that the site drainage wasn't going to have a negative effect on the neighbors. And Fraser Valley Engineering indicated that there was no issues with the expanded building size or the increased height that would have a negative impact. The existing rock pit system was more than adequate to deal with on-site drainage. And then lastly, I'd just like to bring the attention that there are similar sized buildings in this neighborhood. I'm not sure if they were ever brought forward to this board for variance applications, but they exist. And I'm here to answer any questions that the board might have.
Thank you. Directors, any questions for Mr. Rayner? Director Dickey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No, I have nothing to question, but just like to thank Mr. Rayner for making his presentation to us tonight.
Thank you, Director Dickey.
Thank
Just check with directors. Is there any questions for Mr. Rayner? This application. Don't see any. Thank you, Mr. Rayner. You will have another opportunity if there's additional information that needs to be brought forward. And just checking if there's anyone else who wishes to speak to this item, that'd be the opportunity. Either make your way to the podium or Ms. Van Ness, if there's anyone online.
There doesn't appear to be any questions online. Mr.
Sure,
Chair.
I'll call for a second time. Third and final time. Thank you. I need a mover in a second or on the item. It's moved by Director Dickey, seconded by Director Adamo. Any discussion from board directors? Hearing none, call the question. All in favor? Opposed, if any? The item carries. Next item.
10.1 is covenants for the protection of the environment, protection from geohazards and site servicing relating to the subdivision of land and construction of a medical care center at 46090 Lougheed Highway in Electoral Area C.
Thank you. Mover and a seconder. It's moved by Director Wardenberg, seconded by Director Castle. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Opposed, if any? The item carries. Next item.
10.2 is the Columbia Valley Fire Department Land Lease Agreement. There's a motion for your consideration.
Thank you.
Move Dixon.
Moved by Director Dixon, seconded by Director Clute. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Item carries. Next item.
10.3 is an agricultural land lease for the Fraser Valley Regional Air Park. There is a motion for your consideration.
Thank you. It's moved by Director Pranger, seconded by Director Adamo. Discussion? Seeing none. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Item carries. Next item.
11.1 is the 2023 Community Emergency Preparedness Fund Emergency Operations Center grant application.
Thank you. It's moved by Director Reed, seconded by Director Johnson. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Item carries. Next item.
11.2 is the 2023 Community Emergency Preparedness Fund Public Notification and Evacuation Route Planning Grant.
Thank you. That's moved by Director Horn, seconded by Director Castle. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Item carries. Next item.
11.3 is the 2023 Forest Enhancement Society of BC grant for wildfire fuel management prescriptions.
Thank you. It's moved by Director Johnson, seconded by Director McCahonick. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Opposed, if any? The item carries. Next item.
11.4 is the Evacuee Support Services Program Guide. There is a motion for your consideration.
Thank you. It's moved by Director Horn, seconded by Director Facio. Discussion? Director Horn, go ahead.
Thank you. Through the chair to staff, a question, two questions, I suppose. The first is there a deadline or has there been a specific request in terms of the feedback here? And I'll explain why I ask in a moment, but is this feedback that we're giving that's unsolicited, or is there a specific feedback period and a timeline?
Through the chair to Director Horn, I don't believe that feedback was solicited. However, I will turn things over to our Manager of Emergency Management, Sharina College, to speak further on this item.
College.
Thank you. Let's bring that a little closer. Through the chair to Director Horn, this is unsolicited feedback in the sense that the program guide has been released without opportunity for local governments to comment in the development and modernization of the ESS program. So we're really focused on some of the ongoing systemic challenges with a lack of consultation and engagement with local governments and what it means in the local government realm to be able to apply the changes without having been part of the change going forward.
Thank you very much. To follow up, Mr. Chair, I strongly support the concerns raised by Ms. College here, and I think that it's an example of something that many of the municipal members here may also wish to have their ESS directors or capacity look at. And so whether it's by CCing this letter or by simply reaching out, I don't know what the CAO might recommend through the chair, but I think it would be good to make others aware and to enlist support from FERD municipalities that may be interested in this as well. And I know Atmospheric River was a telling opportunity for us to learn, and this is one of those lessons. So I'll leave that as perhaps a comment for staff to think about, but I'm fairly certain Ms. College knows how to reach at least one of the member municipalities and enlist some folks. Thank you.
Thank you. And yeah, I don't believe we need a motion for that. I think, you know, we benefit here, obviously, at the regional district from Ms. College's deep engagement on this, not just this item, but the whole modernization of the Emergency Management Act. Up until fairly recently, she was our participating on the UBCM Flood and Wildfire Committee, and I know provided a lot of excellent feedback to that. So I don't know that there's anybody out there tracking these changes as closely as she is, and we benefit from that for sure. And so if she's flagging something, if it can be CC'd to our member municipalities, I think that's a added value of the FERD. We have a mover and a seconder on this item. We do. Okay. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none. All in favor? Opposed, if any? The item carries. Next item.
11.5 is the major official community plan and zoning amendments to facilitate the redevelopment of the gravel pit at 43837 and 43873 Lougheed Highway, Electoral Area C, into a residential subdivision with commercial and multifamily land uses.
Thank you. And Director Wardenberg, I believe you've got a motion.
Yes, I'd like to move a motion to strike the first paragraph and replace it with the following words: that the Fraser Valley Regional District Board directs staff to continue to work with the applicant on the redevelopment proposal for 43837 and 43873 Lougheed Highway in Electoral Area C, and leave the rest of the motion as is.
Thank you. And do I have a seconder to the motion? Seconded by Director Dickey. And any discussion? Director Dickey, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd just like to recognize that in 20 years here, I have never seen a project of this magnitude or complexity in the electoral areas of the Fraser Valley Regional District. That said, there are many positive aspects being put forward by the proponents of this project, which certainly could augur well for the surrounding community. But I do have every confidence that Director Wardenberg and our planning staff will do an excellent job in moving this proposal forward.
Thank you, Director Dickey. Other comments from board directors? Don't see any. Ready for the question? All in favor? Opposed, if any? The item carries. Next item.
Moving down to item 13, which is items for information and correspondence. Happy to separate any of those items out.
Thank you. Just check in with board directors on any of these correspondence items. I would like to comment on one if there's opportunity. It's the letter of correspondence we received from Mayor Pranger. And I know she's brought up an issue around the regionalization of biosolids. And the reason I would just provide a little bit of comment on it is because I think this is one of the many challenges that this region, not just this region, but other regions are going to be facing in the future, as some of the sewer systems, in particular in our area, face some of these challenges with the kind of hardening borders of Annacis and Iona, where some of the material is trucked. So it represents as they harden those borders around them and only accept material from in their own respective regions, I think it represents a very real risk. So it is something that I would like to look into more and consider as we talk more about this important discussion. And I just want to thank Director Pranger, Mayor Pranger, for starting that important discussion with us. So in my mind, it doesn't necessarily have to be the regional district that drives this, but it's very good to have the conversation on it, because if we're not talking about it now, I guarantee we'll be talking about it fairly quickly. Director Dickey.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just wanted to echo the comments of the chair regarding this initiative by Director Pranger. It seems to me that the regional district is the perfect body to move something like this forward, and all the economies of scale, rather than us trying to work on this individually. So it makes all the sense in the world. Thank you, Director Pranger.
Director Horn.
I would share the comments that have been expressed and simply ask about next steps, and whether or not it's in the hands of staff who intend to come back with something. Just further your comments, Chair Lum, when I think about the advantages of working regionally, perhaps the one that we're overlooking the most is waste management. And as you said, we should, I think, learn from the experiences that Director Ross advocated for so many times over the last 10 years when it came to our airshed. And I think we're going to see the same thing with solid waste in all of its various forms. And I think we should be looking forward to how we can advantage this table and thinking about biosolids as well as other forms of waste. So I'm very curious about next steps, and I think we're at the beginning of a term when we have a bit of a ramp to think about the future here. So a question through you to staff about what they would prefer in response to this.
Yeah, and Ms. Kenneman, I know we've received this, and I know we'll be preparing a response back to Mayor Pranger and the District of Kent. But I know our solid waste staff are also considering and looking at that in preparation for a response. I don't know if we need a formal direction further than that at this point.
Chair Lum, through you to Director Horn, I don't know that we need an emotion at this point in time, but I might just suggest that it's rather timely. Kudos to the District of Kent for sending this to us right on the heels of our strategic planning session. I suspect that there might be some good action items that could come out of this board with respect to biosolids that could show up in that strategic plan. If the board was willing. So leave it with us and we'll take a look at it and we'll bring something back at a later date.
Thank you, Ms. Kenneman. Director Facio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to say that I fully support Mayor Pranger's letter here to move forward in a regional way to deal with the biosolids. Will this be going to the individual communities, this letter as well? Director Pranger?
The whole idea was to work as a region, and that's why it went to the regional district as opposed to individual communities. I think at the present time, we all use the same company even to transport the biosolids. So it's just one of the many things that I think we can work well together as a region, and solid waste management is one of them, and this is a component of that.
Thank you. I'll bring this up as my report to our council meeting as well. It's a very important issue. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Other comments or questions from board directors? Don't see any. Next item, Ms. Kinnaman.
Moving down to item 15, which is reports by board directors.
Thank you. Directors, be your opportunity. Director, why don't we start with Director Pranger?
Just want to remind everyone that the annual Chilliwack plowing match is on April the 1st. I see some competitors around the table here, and it's a great event, and I think everyone should try and go to a plowing match. It's well worth the effort to go out and enjoy the farm community. The second thing I would like to talk about is I'd like to bring a highlight to our efforts to bring a regional aquatic center to Agassiz, District of Kent rather, but on April the 22nd, I will be walking from Agassiz to Chilliwack's pool at where it's called Leisure Center, I believe. And some of you are joining me. It's to bring awareness to the pool and to fundraise, and it actually is going very well. And I know Miss Kinnaman and her husband are joining me, and as are several other people. And I look forward to bringing awareness to the pool via a walk, a short walk in the park, 26 kilometers.
I'll just say,
Thank you.
having been embarrassed at the plowing match by Director Pranger already once, I'm happy to be relegated to the sideline and just cheer on the mayor of Chilliwack as he takes on, you know, the competition.
I think I'm busy that day. Maybe I'll have to give you a little nod on your shoulder, but I'm proud to walk with you, Mayor, and to bring awareness to your community's needs and wants, and let's get it out there and have some fun. So I will be joining you. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other directors, Director Facio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've offered to walk with Director Pranger, but only as far as the Popcom roundabout. That's it. But I'd welcome a car to take me the rest of the way. Thank you. I'd just like to thank the staff and the directors for a great strategic planning meeting last week at the Harrison Resort. It was a really well run with a good facilitator. Excellent, wasn't quite a day and a half, but a lot of great ideas came from that session. And it was a pleasure to be around positive people and discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Facio. Director Horn.
I just want to point out to those who decided to go on this walk that this year it's been connected to the plowing competition. So we'll be actually pushing the plow as you go. If anybody ever wonders if the Fraser Valley Regional District is still a rural regional district, we've had a conversation about a manure pile and plowing in the same meeting. So that answers that question. Getting to the serious, it's my very great pleasure to announce that after considerable community advocacy and alignment from our school board, our local council, and our two MLAs, Mission was told last Friday, that the funding for a new high school will be forthcoming, and that is long overdue. So
good news. Director Johnson, did you have that?
Thank you, Chair. As I mentioned in our East meeting, I attended a 2-day session on Mending Spirits hosted by Boothroyd Band on March 7th and 8th. And on March 14th, our MLA Jackie Taggart stopped in at North Bend Hall on her way back after meeting up in Hope with Mayor Smith and Area B Director Adamo. Jackie got to enjoy a bit of our musicians playing and singing, as well as an opportunity to meet and talk with the folks that were there. March 15th, I met with one of the Canyon Alpine business owners to discuss concerns about their water system. And March 16th and 17th, I also enjoyed attending the workshop on strategic planning at Harrison. It was well facilitated. Yesterday, I received news that CP Rail is expanding their bunkhouse in North Bend. So some questions have come up around water and sewer. And this Saturday, I'm once again invited to attend another Landfill Society meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Johnson. Other reports from board directors? Director McAhonick.
Thank you. So I just also wanted to thank staff for how well put together the strategic planning was, and the caliber of the facilitator. I thought it went very well, and really enjoyed it. And I've been still dealing with the rural homelessness and abandoned camps, and stakeholders meeting is growing, but it's not really, we're getting a little ways, but it's still a lot of work and not a lot of movement. So we've got garbage hauling changes in the community, and I just want to thank staff as well for helping me to try and navigate through that on what best we can do so that we don't end up with a dumping problem in the Chilliwack River Valley on that. I attended the March 15th Chilliwack River Valley Ratepayers Association, and 50 people came out. So it was a pretty good turnout at the Fish and Game Club. Lots of concern about the rural homelessness and the amount of crime around Baker Trails and that with that. So that's still quite a concern. And I really wanted to thank Carolyn Lane for coming out from Environmental Services from the district. And it was really helpful to have her out there speaking about composting. April 22nd, the Chilliwack River Cleanup Society will be out, and you can register at Thompson Park from 8:30 to 9:30. And they've changed the date. So May 27th is the Post Creek Fire Smart Days. And then June 24th at Thompson Park is the Chilliwack River Valley Fire Department Fire Smart Day at 11 a.m. And just meeting with a lot of different residents and groups of residents and with staff on different issues. And just thank you everybody for making themselves available to help out on some of these issues, because there's no easy answers for a lot of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Director McElhatton. Director Barkman?
Yeah, I'm just looking on my schedule here, and are the cities going to get invites to mayor and council on the plowing event on the 1st?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's not a FDRD event, but I'm sure Director Pranger will loop back and ensure that you're there, even though I think you won the last time when I had to compete against you.
No, I'm still
Look, if I can
We're
chime-
probably not letting you.
If I can chime in, I think he should be disqualified
Yeah.
because of his
Well, I'm
farming
sponsored
experience.
by John Deere, and I haven't got my trophy that I won the one time. So
Okay.
I'm feeling a little animosity happening here.
Even more, you should be disqualified.
One privilege, Director Barkman's mic is working.
Other director reports. Director Wardenberg.
Yeah, I met with the Hemlock Valley Homeowners Association, and I look forward to a meet and greet up there on Saturday from 2 to 4. So anybody who's got a pair of skis, come up there and meeting at the pub there. So also, I'd like to have give a big thank you to the Agassiz Fire Department. I am the chair of the Harrison Mills Community Hall, and in the last week they have generously donated an AED to the hall, and I thank you very much. Thank you, Sylvia. And that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Other reports from directors. I don't see any lights. I don't see anybody on my, oh, there you go, Director Popo.
Just I'm wondering about this plowing match, and we should maybe set some sort of parameters where maybe we can put some money on the table, Director Barkman, but it's got to be some like a little bit of leeway for us that don't plow. Would you maybe suggest? Well, I'm not looking at your wall, but like a bit of a handicap maybe for us that don't.
And I don't see any.
Okay.
I don't see any other director
Okay, well,
reports before we get in trouble for gambling in a live meeting here. Then
I will take that off the table. You can put your money back in your wallet.
Nobody says anything the whole meeting.
Yeah.
Points, how this goes.
Okay, I don't see. Oh, Director Clute. All right, and it's not about the plowing match or gambling.
People want to
or...
practice. I got about 100 acres I need plowing ahead of time. So come on by.
I need practice.
I'm there.
Thank you, directors. Very excited about plowing here. Apparently, very good. Seeing no other director reports, Ms. Kinnaman, next item.
Next item is public question period for items relevant to the agenda, and we'll just turn things over to Jamie Van Ness.
Thank you, Ms. Van Ness, and I'm expecting 10 questions on the plowing match from the public. Have anything?
We don't have any members of the public joining us by Zoom, but I do know we do have a few members of the public left. If they do have a question relevant to the agenda that they could ask.
Okay, it would be an opportunity if you wish to ask a question relevant to the agenda. We'll turn the mic on and then I'll just get you to state your name and your address for the record.
Sure. My name is Patrick Giesbrecht. I live at 36621 Farina Road in Abbotsford. And I just wanted to make a comment on item 11.5 tonight, the gravel pit closure in the housing development. It's really a thank you. We've been working with members of the EASC, and after some robust discussion a week ago and a meeting that happened during the week, I just want to pass on a special thank you to Director Wardenberg and Director Dickey, along with senior staff, as we work through some of the issues, and we will continue to work some of the issues. So I really appreciate the amendment to the motion tonight, Director Wardenberg, and look forward to continue to work with you to shut down that gravel pit and bring some housing.
Waiting for the question, Mr. Giesbrecht.
So is it okay if am I done now? There's the question.
Yeah, yeah. Well done. Ms. Kinnaman. Oh, I'll just check in with the public if there are any other comments or questions. Sorry, any other questions relevant to the agenda? Don't see any. Ms. Kinnaman, next item.
Looking for a resolution to close the meeting.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, it's moved by Director Facio, second by Director Horn. All in favor, opposed, if any, the item carries. We're
just give us
adjourned.
3 minutes.